Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's Dustin Kreis and today we are going to do a video response to R.E. Lewis. He just did a video on 90s television shows, and that video, I mean, that stuff is near and dear to my heart. So of course I had to make a video response to that because there's just too many great shows to talk about. But I picked out a selection here, and I actually had to redo this video because my wife, I was talking to my wife about it, and I left a show out that she really loves, and she's like, you reshoot that fucking video. So, see? And yeah, so I'm going to reshoot it, and I'm going to put this show in there, because it is a great show, and but it just wasn't one of my favorites, but it's one of hers, so I'll throw that in there for her. I'll throw her a bone. Anyway, let's get to the shows and start talking about it so this video is not 45 minutes long like the last one. First up here, this show, the first two shows I'm going to show you, technically, I guess if you really want to split hairs, you can consider them 80s shows. They started in 88, 89, and but they ran into the 90s, so I'm going to count them, and it's my video, so be quiet. The first show I'm going to show you is one of my all-time favorites, and I just talked about it in the last video as well. That is Mystery Science Theater 3000. Just such a creative and wonderful show. Who would have thought that people would want to watch a guy and two puppets sit and make fun of terrible movies? You know, that idea seems so stupid, but the show ran for over 10 years, so obviously they were on to something. And it's so wonderful to watch this because it's amazing how funny it actually really is. I mean, and in a lot of ways it makes me want to watch terrible movies, and whenever I watch a terrible movie, I sit and make fun of it like these guys, like it's completely permeated my brain. But yeah, definitely an amazing show. A wonderful Midwestern sense of humor, since these guys basically shot in Milwaukee, and they're all from the Milwaukee area. So it was kind of, you know, crazy that, you know, it's kind of like the small guy doing, you know, big things, and it just shows you with a creative idea and what you can do with zero budget, you know. So definitely check out Mystery Science Theater 3000. One of the all-time best shows of all time. That was kind of an awkward statement there, but oh well. Hey, the next show, technically also, I think it started in 1989. Also kind of technically an 80s show, but ran into the 90s, ran to 92. That is Twin Peaks. All you guys out there who like Silent Hill and Alan Wake, you definitely need to check this show out, because this is where those games kind of got their origins. An amazing, kind of crazy, fucked up story from David Lynch, as all of his stories are, you know. But this is one of the more accessible David Lynch stories out there. But even then, it gets so wild and twisted, and you just kind of want to unravel its secrets. But it doesn't let you, because unfortunately the series got canceled after season 2 because they solved the Laura Palmer murder, and then everyone sort of didn't care anymore. They all wanted it solved, but then once it was solved, they're like, oh, they shouldn't have done that. So that was a network pressure, by the way, that made them do that. So networks ruin TV shows. But anyway, as it stands, this is still 29 episodes of brilliance, and then if you want to watch Fire Walk with Me after that, it is a nice addition to the series as well. But the first season and the second season of this are absolute gems, and or the first half of the second season, I should say. You definitely need to check out Twin Peaks, one of the best shows of all time. R.E. Lewis in his video talked about Saved by the Bell, and while I do agree that Saved by the Bell is one of those shows that, you know, you just kind of carry with you. I mean, that's how I thought high school was going to go. That's how stupid I was. But I secretly really wished it would go like Parker Lewis Can't Lose, because this show is absolutely insane. Take your Saved by the Bell memories and then just inject like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and you have Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Wonderfully surreal in that 90s way that you can't make shows like this anymore, you know. And just, I mean, there's times I just, you know, bought these seasons not too long ago, and I was watching these episodes, and I would gut bust, laugh, you know. It still holds up to this day, so, you know, the clothes are dated, but the jokes are timeless. In the same vein of a surreal show that really, I kind of got to pick a bone with you there, Rusty. You talked about all these great Nickelodeon shows, but you did not talk about the best Nickelodeon show ever created, and that is The Adventures of Pete and Pete. This I mean, I'm almost speechless talking about this show because it is so perfect. You know, it's when you watch it as a child, it's what you wish your childhood was. You know, you wish that you had these grand adventures with your friends. When you watch it as an adult, it's how you remember your childhood. You know, being these overblown stories and you know, heroes and villains and just wild stuff. It works for kids and it works for adults as well. And it's definitely one of those shows that they can never recreate ever again. It was just the time and the place, and it was perfection. And I'm telling you what, if Nickelodeon and Paramount, if you don't release season 3 on DVD here soon, I'm going to come to your front doors and kick your teeth in. There we go. Next up, we have another great of the 90s that has kind of made a comeback here, and I was actually really impressed with the new season that came out last year, and that is Beavis and Butthead. You know, it's kind of like an idiot savant of a show. I mean, it's so stupid, but at the same time, it's such a perfect, like, a perfect caricature of sort of American culture in the 90s. And just, you know, there's so much stuff in there that's so funny. And unfortunately, these Time Life DVDs don't have the music videos in it. But that was one of the great things about watching Beavis and Butthead, is when they'd set and make fun of music videos. But yeah, definitely.
Now they make fun of the Jersey Shore.
Now they make fun of the Jersey Shore. The wife's chiming in. You know, kind of a sign of the times, I guess. But, you know, who cares about music videos anymore, right? But back in the day, it was really awesome stuff. And then the next thing, do you want to talk about this? I talk about it? Okay. The next thing is not one of my favorite shows of all time. It's still a great show, but my wife absolutely adores this show, and she made me reshoot this video to put this in here. And that is Femme Nikita. And it's sort of this crazy spy series that stars the wonderful and beautiful Peta Wilson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she even agrees. You know, some of the acting is kind of stilted by today's standards, but you'll get that with a lot of these shows back then, you know, these sort of sci-fi high concept shows. But it does tell actually a really kind of an interesting story. And the sort of on-off love story between Nikita and Michael is always fun to watch as well. Got a little weird in the last season, you know, because there were some shakeups in the show. But it really is really a fun show. Not one of my favorites, but my wife really loves it.
When they canceled that show, they had so many people writing in to have it brought back that they brought it back for just a few episodes to finish the series.
So see, there you go. I hope you heard that. Basically like a Firefly, Star Trek type, you know, love story here. The fans wanted it. The fans got it. So, La Femme Nikita, definitely check it out. It is a really good show. Wasn't one that I watched though. R.E. Lewis also talked about Buffy and Angel, and my God, I have to agree so much. These are fantastic. I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer religiously. I loved Angel too, but Angel was not one of my favorite characters in the series. So while I watched it, you know, in the beginning, I didn't watch like the final couple seasons until the DVDs came out. So, you know, Angel wasn't one of my favorite series of all times, but it's still, you know, watching it now to completion is still really fantastic. And it's got a lovely, like, film noir vibe to it. Whereas Buffy is just, you know, it really is kind of in a way like Scooby-Doo with vampires and, like, big life themes. I mean, when they call themselves the Scooby Gang, it really makes sense. And, of course, it's got the lovely Sarah Michelle Gellar in there, and how can you go wrong with that? But so many great stories. My wife's kicking me because I'm talking about Sarah Michelle Gellar. But so many great stories, and, you know, even to this day, when I watch the episode The Body, it's still, you know, there's so many episodes that just make me cry. And it's a weird thing to talk about with this kind of a show, but it really has an emotional heart to it, along with all the vampire slaying. And I think that's really, you know, why people are drawn to it, is just because you, by the end of it, you really do care about the characters. And then finally here, well, not finally, but I got a couple more things to talk about, but for all you guys out there who love Battlestar Galactica, which I am right there with you, is one of the greatest shows of, you know, the 2000s, I really want you to go back and check out this show, because in a lot of ways this is almost a direct predecessor to that kind of show, and that is Babylon 5. And, you know, there was a bit of a war back in the day between Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5 because they were basically the same premise. But I loved both of them equally. They told, you know, different things from a different perspective. But Babylon 5, in a lot of ways, just stands the test of time. Yes, the special effects are dated and old and awful looking, but the storylines are what really makes it happen. You know, season 1 is kind of an intro to get you familiar with the world and the politics and everything. And then from season 2 to 4, it's all out like war, and it's just so, the story is just so insane. And then you have season 5, which is almost like an epilogue to this 3-year war that's happened. Such an amazing story, such amazing characters. Jakar, one of my favorite characters of all time. He's just so great, and it's so unfortunate that the actor who played him died, and we can't have him in like the continuing movies that they planned on doing, but they haven't done yet, any more of them yet. But really is a fantastic series and a fantastic story, and definitely check it out if you like these big sci-fi operas. You know, it's amazing stuff. And it was almost all written by one guy, J. Michael Straczynski. He actually wrote a couple complete seasons, you know, and it was just a few episodes here and there. It was written by other people. But you might also know him from writing the real Ghostbusters cartoon. So that's why that cartoon was so good as well, is because he was on it. But yeah, definitely his baby, his creation. He was the creator of the series and just wrote all the episodes. So the next 3 shows started in 1999 and continued into the new millennium, but I definitely wanted to talk about them as well. And the first show is Spaced, and this is where Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Edgar Wright got their start. And it's an amazing series. For all you guys out there who love geek culture, this is almost a Bible for you guys. You have to have it. It's so amazing. And the story actually between Tim and Daisy is just, you know, just so good. I mean, it's sort of that, you know, will they, won't they love story. And of course, you know, you have his son of a bitch, the camera keeps falling apart every video. I gotta glue that on there. I keep saying that, but I never do it. But you have his best friend Mike, played by Nick Frost, and he's just so hilarious in this. And the episode Art, where Brian's friend Volva comes in, and like Simon Pegg's character Tim is like twigging out on like this bad like ecstasy, and he starts to have like this Resident Evil like flashback type thing. It's so funny. You guys have to watch this show, Spaced. Definitely check it out. Keeping it in vein with Babylon 5 and sort of the sci-fi operas, we're going to go with Farscape next. An amazing show from the Jim Henson Company. And when you guys see a lot of the puppets that they've made to be the aliens in this show, you'll wonder why anyone does CG, because these are such beautiful puppets and makeup jobs. And the storyline, you know, it really is the John Crichton, Aaron Sun show. You know, you really, it's their love story with this sort of big sci-fi adventure in the backdrop. But it's just such an amazing show. And Scorpius, one of the all-time best villains ever. Definitely have to check out Farscape if you like science fiction, or just, you know, if you like Star Wars. Definitely check out this show because it has a very Star Wars vibe, more so than like Babylon 5, which is more like Star Trek. And then finally, rounding out this episode, and hopefully I don't have to shoot this thing again. Although I did forget to talk about Hey Dude, didn't I? My wife also wanted me to talk about Hey Dude. I hated it.
Salute Your Shorts.
Oh, and Salute Your Shorts. I love Salute Your Shorts. Forgot to talk about that. See, shooting this thing twice is a bad idea. Salute Your Shorts and Hey Dude, a couple other great Nickelodeon shows. Unfortunately, well, Hey Dude is out on DVD. Salute Your Shorts is not, which is a travesty. So, anyway, got those in there. So now we can go and finish the video with Freaks and Geeks. Just an amazing show. It was made in the 90s, so it covers that, but it was about the 80s, so you get 2 for 1. And such a wonderful portrait of like high school, even though it's set in 1980. The storylines, you know, you can extrapolate them to like 2011. You know, it really is kind of a timeless the couple timeless stories they tell here of growing up and adolescence. And there's actually some really heartbreaking moments in this. Like, there was a moment where my wife said, "We're not going to watch this anymore. I can't take this." And it really is a fantastic show, and you really do need to check it out. And it's unfortunate that NBC didn't know what to do with it, because it only lasted one season. And that's almost a crime, because, you know, it was so awesome. But if you take a look at the cover there, I mean, almost all of those kids in the show have gone on to bigger and better things. So, I mean, what are you going to do? James Franco, you know, Seth Rogen. Oh, what the hell's his name? I can't remember. Jason Segel. Almost forgot Jason Segel, you know? And then, of course, Martin Starr, who's been in a lot of things. But it's great. And Bill Haverchuck is one of the best characters ever written. There we go. So, alright guys. That's the video. And we're done with it. So, 90s TV shows. Hopefully you guys have seen something here that will spark an interest. And you'll go check out some of these great shows. Because the 90s really was... You know, I have to agree with R.E. Lewis. The 90s was really a great time for entertainment. In terms of, you know, music... movies, TV, video games, all of it. It was really kind of a golden age in a lot of ways. But I guess, you know, everyone looks back at their own, you know, adolescence as the golden age, so. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time. Ada's going crazy.